On October 2, 1978, a shortstop who'd hit 4 home runs all year lifted a broken bat fly ball over Fenway's left field wall, and broke the Boston Red Sox for a generation. His name was Russell Earl Dent. Everyone called him Bucky. In Boston, they'd soon jam a different word into the middle of it, and never take it out. This is the story of the smallest swing that ever felt like the end of the world. For most of that summer, the Boston Red Sox were the best team in baseball. They had Jim Rice, tearing through the league on his way to a most valuable player season, 46 home runs, 139 runs batted in. They had Carl Yastrzemski, an aging legend still playing hurt. They had Carlton Fisk behind the plate. By the middle of July, they led the American League East by 14 games. 14 games. In baseball, that isn't a league. That's a coronation. In Boston, people stopped watching the standings and started printing playoff tickets. Then it came apart, slowly, then all at once. The injuries came first. Then the bats went cold in the August heat. And in September, the New York Yankees, who'd spent the summer at war with their own manager and their own owner, got healthy at exactly the wrong time for Boston. They came to Fenway Park for 4 games in early September, and they did something the city has never forgotten. 4 games. 4 Yankee wins. New York outscored Boston 42-9. They call it the Boston Massacre, and it wasn't a slump anymore. It was a free-fall. The 14-game lead evaporated. By mid-September, the Red Sox had fallen 3.5 games behind the very team they'd once left for dead. But Boston refused to die quietly. They won 12 of their final 14 games. They won their last 8 in a row. And on the final day of the regular season, both the Red Sox and the Yankees stood at 99 wins and 63 losses. Dead even. 162 games, and not a single game between them. So baseball did what it almost never does. It ordered one more. A single-game playoff. Winner takes the division. Loser's season is simply over. Months earlier, the 2 teams had flipped a coin to decide where a possible playoff would be held. Boston won the toss. So the whole season came down to one cold, bright afternoon in the oldest ballpark in America, with the Red Sox at home and a city holding its breath. The Yankees handed the ball to Ron Guidry, a slender left-hander who just finished one of the greatest seasons a pitcher has ever had. 25 wins. 3 losses. A 1.74 earned run average. But Guidry was pitching on short rest, and he didn't have his best. Boston countered with Mike Torres, and the baseball gods have a sense of humor. Just 1 year earlier, Torres had been a Yankee. He'd won 2 complete games for New York in the 1977 World Series. Now he stood on the Fenway mound in Red Sox white, trying to bury the team he'd carried a year before. For 6 innings, it worked. Fenway shook. Boston led 2-0. They were 9 outs from the pennant they'd nearly thrown away. And then the 9th hitter in the New York lineup stepped toward the plate. He was batting .243. He had 4 home runs in 123 games. Nobody in that ballpark, not one soul, was afraid of Bucky Dent. Top of the 7th inning. 2 outs. Chris Chambliss and Roy White both aboard on singles. Torres, 1 out from escaping the inning still ahead. Dent got a pitch and fouled it straight down off the top of his own foot. He collapsed in the batter's box, hobbling, wincing, the pain shooting up his leg. The trainer jogged out with a spray can. The game stopped cold. And in that pause, that odd, dead pause that no one would remember if what came next hadn't happened, baseball turned on a hinge. Dent's bat had a hairline crack in it. In the on-deck circle, teammate Mickey Rivers noticed. Rivers grabbed a bat of his own model, shoved it at the bat boy, and told him to run it out to Dent while the trainer worked on his foot. Dent, still limping, took the new bat without much thought. Meanwhile, Mike Torres stood on the mound and waited, and here's the detail that pitchers wince at to this day. During that long delay, Torres never threw a single warm-up pitch to stay loose. Whether it mattered, no one can prove. But men have argued about it for almost 50 years. Dent stepped back in with a borrowed bat and a throbbing foot. Torres came with a fastball, up and in. Dent swung, and lifted a high, lazy fly ball toward left field. Off the bat, it looked like nothing at all. An easy out. In the Boston dugout, no one flinched. Left fielder Carl Yastrzemski drifted back toward the wall, lifted his glove, and then simply stopped. And watched. Because Fenway Park has a wall unlike any in the sport. 37 feet of green-painted tin, standing barely 310 feet from home plate, the shortest, meanest porch in baseball. The Green Monster. A wall that turns lazy fly balls into home runs, and towering drives into loud singles. The ball drifted down, and settled into the netting above the monster. Home run. 3 runs. New York led, 3-2. For a moment, Fenway Park made no sound at all. More than 30,000 people, struck silent in the same instant. A shortstop with 4 home runs had just hit the biggest one in the history of baseball's greatest rivalry, with a borrowed bat, on a cracked foot, into the one wall on the planet that would ever let it lead. New York wasn't finished. They scored again that inning to make it 4-2. Reggie Jackson launched a solo home run in the 8th, a run that would prove to be the margin. And when Boston clawed back 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th, Jackson's meaningless-looking homer suddenly meant everything. In the 9th, the Yankees fireballing closer, Goose Gossage, came on throwing nothing but heat. He got 2 outs, then put the tying run on base. 90 feet from a tie. And up to the plate walked Carl Yastrzemski, Boston's beloved captain, 40,000 prayers riding on his bat. Gossage threw a fastball. Yaz swung and lifted a foul pop-up into the afternoon sky. Third baseman Greg Nettles settled under it. Yaz later said he didn't want the ball to come down, because when it did, the season was over. Yankees 5, Red Sox 4. The Yankees rolled on and won the 1978 World Series. Bucky Dent, the number 9 hitter, the .243 shortstop, was named the World Series Most Valuable Player. In a single October, he'd gone from a name you'd forget to a name you'd never escape. In New York, he was a folk hero. In Boston, he became a curse with a face. Fans there refused to say his name cleanly. They wedged a profanity into the middle of it, and that version outlived the men who coined it, passed down from fathers to sons like a family scar. Bucky bleeping Dent. Say it in Boston even now and watch a grown man's jaw tighten. Because it wasn't just a loss. It was every shape of Boston heartbreak folded into one afternoon. The enormous lead, squandered. The nobody who did the damage. The team's own cherished wall, turned traitor at the worst possible moment. It fed the curse of the Bambino, the drought that had started when Boston sold Babe Ruth to New York decades earlier, and gave it a fresh, raw wound. And here is what keeps the moment alive. Dent's home run should have been an out. Hit that same fly ball in almost any other stadium in America and an outfielder catches it easily, the inning ends, and history forgets Bucky Dent entirely. It cleared for one reason, where it was hit. The shortest fence in the game, topped by the tallest wall in the game. That's the strange truth this moment exposed. Baseball is the only major sport with no clock and no standard field. Every ballpark is its own creature, with its own dimensions and its own ghosts. The identical swing is a routine out in one city and an immortal legend in another. In 1978, pure geography broke a city's heart. It would take 26 more years to undo it, the 2004 Red Sox, roaring back from 3 games down against those same Yankees, finally ending the curse. And when Boston at last broke free, all the old names came rushing back at once. The Bambino, Buckner, and Bucky Dent, the light-hitting shortstop who, for one swing, held an entire city's grief in his hands and didn't even know it. Dent never pretended to be great. He said it himself, he was just an ordinary player who got a pitch he could handle at the one instant it would echo forever. He later opened a baseball school in Florida and built, in the outfield, a replica of the Green Monster. He made a shrine out of the wall that made him. Maybe that's the deepest thing baseball keeps trying to tell us. It does not save its largest moments for its largest stars. Sometimes it hands them to the very last man you'd expect, and dares the rest of us to make sense of it. So here's the question worth sitting with. If Bucky Dent hits that exact same fly ball in any other ballpark in America, it's a routine out, and no one ever learns his name. Was it greatness, or was it just the wall? Follow for more.